Okay, so we are live now. Good morning to all. I am Siddharth. Welcome in today's Sustainable Saturday session. Today we have Clive Dcosta with us. Clive has a master degree in botany and currently he's working as a project manager at Green Yatra. He's handling multiple sites of Green Yatra, looking Miyawaki Forest and other biodiversity projects. So he's very dedicated and passionate botanist and working very dedicatedly to conserve the ecology and environment. So his interest is in mangroves. So yes, Clive, we can start your mangroves wala session today. Yeah.
Yeah, thank you, Siddharth, for the introduction. So today we are going to talk about mangroves. We have heard about mangroves, like why they are important and why we should not cut them. Like we have heard about the restrictions about cutting the mangroves and all. But today let's talk about why they are important. The reason behind those importance which is given to mangroves. Okay, so let's start. What are mangroves and how to identify them? So, mangroves are plants which are found in the intertidal region. So, between the ocean and the land, these are the plants which are found there. This is the region where not no other plants will survive because it's a hardy environment. It's very salty, like the whole area is very high, has high level of salinity, and there's waterlogging conditions. So the plants which are found in this region, the intertidal region zone, is are called the mangroves. Okay, so I've given you 4 points about mangroves. They are plants. First of all, they are plants which lives in group. They live in group. So you will see them a bunch of plants of the same species. That's why it's called mangroves. Second, they are plants which are very tolerant to high waterlogging, extreme waterlogging. They can tolerate high amount of water. Third, they are plants that are tolerant to salt, extreme levels of salt. So other plants, even other land plants are tolerant to waterlogging and salt, but the extreme conditions, the land plants won't be tolerant. Only mangroves are tolerant to such environment. Fourth, they are viviparous. This is the most important point about the mangroves because no other plants on land are viviparous. This is the only species of plants which are viviparous, the true mangroves, we call them. Okay, next slide. So we'll talk about some distinguishing features of mangroves. In ecology, while we distinguish plants in botany, so we talk about different concepts like distribution. First of it is distribution. So if a plant is not found in that region, we won't consider it to be a mangrove. For example, mangroves are only found in tropics. They are tolerant to salt, they are tolerant to high level of salinity, they are tolerant to high level of waterlogging, but they are not tolerant to cold temperatures, which are found in the temperate. So you won't find a mangrove in a temperate. Second, they have unique root systems. For example, the picture you see next year, these are called pneumatophore roots. They are breathing roots. They have come outside the ground. Normally, roots grow inside the ground. These have grown outside the ground. These are breathing roots. These are seen in mangroves. Third is their leaves. The leaves of the mangroves are very thick and waxy. I'll explain the reason why it's waxy and thick in the future further PPT. And one thing you will notice that if you take a leaf of a mangrove and you snap it, you can hear a snap. So it's that thick. Fourth, they show viviparous growth, as I said before. And fifth, they are usually shrubs or trees. You won't find canopy or herbs in mangroves. So here is a leaf of a mangrove. You can see the wax on it. So what happens is this wax acts as a raincoat. So normally when water uh, if you go to a boat ride in a mangrove forest, you will see that sometimes the water level is very high, and the mangroves up the leaves are also inside the mangroves. So this helps the water to run through it easily and not decay the leaf or make the leaf swollen because of the amount of water which is there. So waxy is a adaptation for these conditions. The second picture you can see a fruit. This is a example of viviparous growth. So there's a fruit here. What happens is the fruit has normally in a land plant will have a flower. The flower will make the flower will be pollinated by a bird or an insect. It will turn into a fruit. The fruit will then fall off from the plant, and the seed, after the fruit is decayed or eaten by some animal, the seed will germinate later in the ground. But here, the conditions are different. Here, the mangrove is in water. If the fruit falls, it will wash away far somewhere, maybe in the mid ocean or so. So you don't, the plant can't afford that. So what they do is the seed is germinating inside the fruit. This is viviparous growth. Like in mammals, the baby is growing inside the womb. Here also the seed is germinating inside the fruit. Once it germinates, you can see a structure which is running down. This structure will go down, reach the ground, and a new plant will come out from that. So this is viviparous growth. The third picture, you can see the roots of the mangroves. This is how you identify a mangrove. The first one, the upper picture is of a red mangrove, and these roots are called rhizophorus. So these are similar roots as you see in banyan tree. They can come from the main stem or the branches. These roots, if you go to a mangrove forest or a boat ride, normally sometimes you might not see these roots, but during the low tide you can see the roots clearly. It's like an octopus standing there. And the fourth is the pneumatophore root. So if you see a tree and you see these roots coming out, you'll know that's a mangrove tree. Okay, next slide.
So viviparous is a unique thing in a mangroves.
Yeah, yeah. So, some general information about mangrove. Globally, there are 62 mangrove species. Now, the true, why it is highlighted as true. So, there are plants which are seen in mangrove forest. These are mangrove associates. They are also hardy plants. They can survive. Like for example, subabul is a very hardy plant. They can survive anywhere. Even you can see them in the mangrove forest sometimes, very close to the ocean. So what makes them different, what makes mangrove different is two conditions. First, they will show viviparous growth, and second, they are very soil tolerant. And you'll see these roots and the leaf, the thickness of the leaf, they are specially adapted to the estuarine environment, and that's why they are called true mangroves. In India, we have 34 of these true mangrove species, and we have 10 mangrove forests. So these 10 mangrove forests are in 10 different states, which is covering around 5,000 square kilometers. And Sundarban happens to be the largest mangrove forest in India and in the world. So Sundarban's half of the part is in India, half is in West Bengal. So if the total area is much bigger than what it is in India it's 2,000 square kilometers. In the total area with West Bengal is around 5,000 square kilometer or more, and that's why it's the world's largest mangrove forest. Okay, so next. Now I'll talk about the importance of mangroves. So why mangroves are important? Why we have given it such a, we have made so many acts to protect mangroves. So in the right you can see a picture of a wall. So this is called a gabion wall. It's made of stones and a net. So it is to protect the coastline from tides. But in the right you can see the natural gabion wall, and it's 100 times more effective than the gabion wall which is seen here. But what we are doing in today's time is we are replacing this natural gabion wall with this man-made gabion wall. So this is a picture of Airoli Creek, and you can see it's like acres of land which is in of covered with mangroves. So this is going to protect us from the ocean when the ocean gets harsh, when the tides are very high. It has to go through all these plants to reach the buildings which are there here in the land, and that's why it's protecting us from the high tides, and that's why it's so important to have mangroves. This player. But now what happens is because of all the railway projects or road projects, we cut through these mangroves and we replace them with given wall. But it's good for the short term, but in long term, it's not going to be effective as the Arctic is like how its climate conditions are going and the water level is rising. So it in future, cutting these mangroves are going to affect us all. Okay, so we'll go ahead.
Definitely, and I think this wall, this type of Gabion wall, is more important than this artificial one because
Yeah.
this is supporting some biodiversity and some ecology, and there are one
Hmm.
biodiversity inside this forest. So I think
Yeah.
a natural wall is a, more important than artificial one.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah. Soil erosion. So normally there are different types of soil. There's sandy soil, clayey soil, and there's loamy soil. If you go to the beaches, there's sandy soil. Those soil is not affected by the beaches, the waves. You can see they are very heavy. So whenever a wave comes or washes off, the sand it will take the sand to a certain distance, but then it will drop down because it has high in density. But other soils, the clayey soil and the loamy soils, they won't. They would be washed off by the ocean as far as possible. That's why mangroves are important because these roots, those dense root system, are gonna hold those soil. Now, and these soil won't wash away due to mangroves. But if the mangrove forest is removed, hundreds of acres of land of with this soil is going to wash away. So this is another important reason why mangroves are important because it prevents soil erosion. Third, it is an ecosystem in a whole. So if you go to a mangrove region, for example, in Airoli, BPS, there's a Bandu pumping station, Vikroli mangrove region, you will see a lot of diversity. Lot of birds is there. Sometimes during winters, mostly birders and all go there to record all the birds and all, and it's quite beautiful. But what you see above ground, 10 times more diversity is below ground, below the water which is there. So the mangrove region, the estuarine region which is there, it's a nursery. It's a nursery for all these fishes of the ocean, the fishes, the shrimps, the small bacteria, whatever which are there. It's a nursery for all the small microflora there, the ocean. So what you see up, it's more 10 times more diversity below. So that's how rich our mangrove forest is. It's more denser in biosphère. It's more beautiful in biodiversity. It has 10 times more biodiversity that in land forest. So whatever biodiversity we see in forest, here it's 10 times more. That's why mangrove forests are important.
Okay, so as we also know that key carbon capacity, carbon capturing capacity, sequestration capacity of mangroves is also I think 10 times more as compared
Yeah.
to regular plants. So it's a very interesting. And Clive, is there any non-native trees that exist in a mangrove forest, just like our terrestrial plants?
No, no, no. So there's no non-native trees growing because these are in groups. These groups of forest won't allow other non-native trees to grow besides them.
Oh, so
But
that
if
is
you,
a great picture.
but yeah, but in some cases we see we'll find some suitable trees growing in a mangrove region. But the question is why? The answer is because of humans, because we have gone there, we have cut some trees, and instead of those, subabul and non-native trees are grown. So normally you see these trees growing there, but the reason for that is us.
ओके ओके सो क्लाइव जैसे टेरेस्ट्रियल प्लांट्स में बहुत सारी नॉन नेटिव स्पेसीज अभी इंट्रोड्यूस हुए सो ऐसे
Hmm.
कुछ मैंग्रोव्स में कोई नॉन नेटिव स्पेसीज है क्या
सो हाँ, तो मैंग्रोव्स का एक ये है कि मैंग्रोव्स वी कॉल देम पैन ट्रॉपिकल. ये सिर्फ ट्रॉपिकल रीजन में फाउंड होते हैं एंड सम ट्रीज लाइक these mangroves are pan-tropical, so we won't call them non-native because they are in tropics, they are found in tropics. Some of them which are found in Florida can be found here sometimes. The
बट
same
बट
species can be
दे
found
विल
here.
नॉट इन्वेज यू
They won't be invasive.
दैट इज अ गुड
Yeah.
दैट इज अ गुड थिंग बिकॉज रेगुलर ट्री प्लांटेशन में जो हम देख रहे हैं टेरेस्ट्रियल में सो नॉन नेटिव स्पेसीज आर द बिगेस्ट इशू एंड
Yeah.
इट विल अफेक्टिंग ऑन और इकोनॉमी और इकोसिस्टम और बायोडाइवर्सिटी सो अभी तक तो मैंग्रोव्स में वैसा कुछ नहीं दैट इज अ ग्रेट
Mangroves
थिंग
massive. Yeah.
या
So next point, it's not only a good home for the small species, it's for the large mammals too. This is a Sundarban tiger, Bengal tiger, which is found in Sundarban, deers. Here it's a jaguar carrying a caiman. So that is found in Florida. But the point here is that it is a good environment for the large mammal species too. the large animals too. So normally what happens is we give a forest a reserved category if there is a big mammal there. For example, the tiger forest which are there, Tadoba and all, these come under reserved category because of that star animal which is there. Even in mangrove forest, there are some animals. Even in Mumbai mangrove forest, you'll find these golden jackals there. But a lot of people don't know about that fact that there are mammals also growing in that mangrove forest, living there. Okay, the next point why mangrove forests are important is because they can clean the water, they can filter all the pollutants. What happens is when the land water is going into the ocean from the rivers or from the estuaries, they carry a lot of pollutants which are caused by us, and that dirty water is going in the ocean. But as it goes through that hundreds of square kilometers of mangrove forest, they get filtered out. These pollutants like nitrate, phosphates, which are there in the water. These all pollutants get filtered out through that mangrove forest, and the good water goes into the ocean. This was the initial theory, but now the amount of pollutants which we have created is so much that the bad water is also going into the ocean. We can't prevent them because of the all population outburst and all. But it still helps in certain extent to prevent the bad water going into the ocean. So food. So primary producers, plants are called primary producers. The reason of it is because they produce fruits, flowers, and there's one more big thing which they produce. It's the leaf litter. Whatever the leaf litter falls on the ground, it gets decomposed, and these are eaten by all those small microfauna there, which are eaten by other bigger microfauna, and the food chain goes on. So this is the primary producer, and tons of leaf litter are produced by these mangrove forests. These are further gonna make fishes, food for all the birds, food for all the mammals, and that's why it's very important. The primary production part of mangroves. It's quite more than the normal land forest which we see. Now, further we go to the types of mangroves which are found. So there are three types of mangroves. They are like an army. So there's a frontline mangrove species which are called red mangroves. So if you go on a boat ride, you will see these on the boundaries of the estuaries. So these are red mangroves. What you see is here are the roots, the prop roots, which I showed you before, and these roots are sometimes half in the ocean, sometimes you can see them. So red mangroves are the most hardy of all the mangroves. They are the most salt tolerant, they are the most water tolerant. They are the most hardy plants on earth. And the first layer is of red mangroves. They are completely viviparous. Their leaves are quite thick, cuticle waxy, and they can survive in very tough conditions here. The second mangroves, which we go next, is the black mangroves. The how to identify them is the pneumatophore roots. These roots which are coming outside to do the exchange of gases thing, and these mangroves are found after the red mangroves. Though, so once we went to the mangrove forest, if you walk all the way through the ocean to the borderline, the shoreline, then you will see the red mangroves. Before that, there's a these mangroves are found in large quantity. Red mangroves are only found in the shorelines. These are the main mangrove forests which are there. Like the density is quite a lot of these black mangrove species, and they are not as hardy as the red mangroves, but quite hardy enough. And the third are the white mangroves, and after that are the mangrove associates. So white mangroves are normally found in land. So in this picture you can see there's red mangroves which have the prop roots, the black mangroves which have the pneumatophorous roots, and the third is the white mangroves. These are similar to our normal forest trees, which are like a little bit salt tolerant and waterlogging tolerant. But why they are called mangroves is because they show certain mangrove features like viviparous reproduction, and the leaves with cuticle quite waxy and all, and it quite has quite thick leaves. So that's why they are called white mangroves. The stem of these mangroves are whitish. So these are the three mangrove species which are there, three mangrove subtypes which are there. Each has different species. There are a few species of red mangroves, there are a few species of black mangroves, like Abyssinia and all, and there are white mangroves which are there. So these whole form a mangrove forest and a quite rich ecosystem.
Yes, it's a really interesting Clive. And what do you think कि क्या threat है अभी mangroves forest को? Because we can see कि development जो हो रहा है या फिर urbanization जो हो रहा है, so mangroves easily cut किए जाते हैं. So what are the major threat for mangrove forest?
So one of the major threat of mangrove forest is because we don't know the importance of mangrove forest. When we see a mangrove forest, we see it as a wasteland because normally only during winters you see biodiversity there. All the whole year you won't see any biodiversity. You will see just a land which is like there's no biodiversity, there are no birds because they don't attract birds for fruits and all because they have viviparous growth. So you won't see much of birds there. What birds come in the winter are swarm birds. They just come for the algae and all which are there in the ocean or in the estuarine system. So what is he? What normally if a plant like fig, you will see a lot of birds sitting on that. That's why we consider it important. But these plants we don't consider it important because it's like a total like normal. Can't see anything there. That's
But
why most of the road projects, the railway projects are gone through this mangrove forest.
But as you said, कि there is a total ecosystem is there
Yeah.
existing in a mangroves forest. भले ही
Hmm.
अगर हमें ऊपर कोई पेड़ के ऊपर कोई चिड़िया नहीं दिख रही, that's not mean कि it's not supporting the biodiversity.
Yeah, yeah.
It has its own biodiversity, which includes some mammals also. You told.
Hmm.
So I think mangroves are playing a most important role in coastal areas. अगर coastal area में mangroves ना हो तो शायद there are lots of natural calamities can disturb to our urban setup also.
Yeah,
So,
yeah.
Clive, what do you think? What we can do to conserve the mangroves? What do you think? What are your ideas?
So first of all, like mangrove plantation is very difficult. You can't remake a mangrove forest that easily. It takes like hundreds of years for a mangrove forest to form. So what we can do is first thing is protect what we have already. Like
Mhm.
prevention is better than cure. So protecting the mangrove forest, like the government of India has made many rules to protect mangrove forest. Like you can't have a construction nearby a mangrove forest. Like there's certain amount of distance which is needed to make a construction besides a mangrove forest. So these acts are very helpful to in preventing mangrove forest. But sometimes like big projects, for example, whatever coastal roads and all projects are going on, these projects require cutting of mangrove forest. Like sometimes there's no other option than
Mm.
sustainable development is followed.
Yeah, we should follow sustainable development or development should be in a sustainable way. But as I know, कि mangroves can capture 10 times and near about 10 to 15 times more carbon
Yeah, yeah, it
sequestered by
can
the
capture
mangroves
because it's a
as compared to So
as
it's a
compared to
really
a normal forest.
yeah. So
Yeah,
it's
yeah,
a
go on.
really interesting thing. So we can do mangrove plantation and we can reduce the carbon emission. We can sequester the carbon dioxide. So we should plant mangroves.
Hmm. Yeah, yeah. So mangrove forests are 10 times denser than the normal forests which are found on land. That's why it can sequester 10 times more carbon also.
ओके एंड एज यू ऑलवेज सेड कि मुंबई बस दो चीजों की वजह से जिंदा है एक संजय गांधी नेशनल पार्क एंड दूसरा मैंग्रोव दैट इज
Yeah.
एक्चुअल सिचुएशन बट द थिंग इज दैट कि नो वन इज नो दैट कि मैंग्रोव्स आर द मोस्ट इंपॉर्टेंट स्पेसिस इन कोस्टल एरिया एंड मैंग्रोव्स को सेव करना चाहिए कंजर्व करना चाहिए बिकॉज हम
Hmm.
देखते हैं कि आरए के लिए जैसे मूवमेंट हुई कि आरए फॉरेस्ट बचाओ एंड कोई भी अगर फॉरेस्ट कटता है या फिर कोई पेड़ कटता है तो लोग सामने आते हैं एंड एक
Hmm.
साथ उसका विरोध करते हैं बट मैंग्रोव्स के केस में मैंने कभी ऐसा सुना नहीं कि मैंग्रोव्स के लिए मैंग्रोव्स के कंजर्वेशन के लिए कुछ अभी ऐसे एक्टिविटीज हुई सो इज देयर एनी गवर्नमेंट ऑर्गेनाइजेशन और इज देयर एनी गवर्नमेंट बॉडी एग्जिस्ट फॉर मैंग्रोव कंजर्वेशन इन महाराष्ट्र
Yeah, there's Mangrove Foundation. It's quite active in Mumbai. They do mangrove plantation in and around Mumbai, the coastlines, wherever encroachment is done. They go there and they again recreate a mangrove forest there. So I've heard a lot of about that Mangrove Foundation.
Okay, so mangroves are the real superheroes, hidden superheroes. We need to save and we need to conserve the mangrove forest. थैंक यू वेरी मच क्लाइव फॉर योर डिटेल प्रेजेंटेशन एंड जो अपने फैक्ट बताए रियली द मोस्ट इम्पोर्टेंट थिंग इज दैट जो मैं फील कर रहा हूँ कि अवेयरनेस इज द इम्पोर्टेंट थिंग कि अगर
Yeah,
हम लोगों को
awareness is
अवेयर कर पाए बिकॉज टेरेस्ट्रियल प्लांट्स के लिए तो सब अभी कदम उठाते हैं अगर कुछ होता है जैसे कि हम आरे फॉरेस्ट के बारे में देखते हैं बट नो वन इज इंटरेस्टेड इन मैंग्रोव बिकॉज किसी को पता ही नहीं कि ये जो पेड़ है क्योंकि मैंने भी बहुत सारी बार देखा कि जो मेरे नॉन बॉटनिकल फ्रेंड्स है या फिर जो इंजीनियर्स है वो बोलते हैं अरे यार ये तो मतलब ये कोई काम के पेड़ नहीं है बस ये हरे भरे हैं, इसमें कुछ भी नहीं होता है ये मैं भी बहुत सारी बार सुनता हूँ सो पीपल शुड नो कि मैंग्रोव्स आर इम्पोर्टेंट एंड दे आर आल्सो कंजर्विंग दे आर आल्सो प्रिजर्विंग द बायोडाइवर्सिटी क्योंकि पानी के अंदर जो भी बायोडाइवर्सिटी हो रही है वो मैंग्रोव्स अच्छी तरीके से प्रोटेक्ट कर पाता है ऐसा मुझे लगता है सो यस अवेयरनेस इज द मोस्ट इम्पोर्टेंट थिंग आई थिंक एंड
and
थैंक यू वेरी मच
one of
yeah
the
yes
best way
pleasure
for awareness is when we take people for forest walks. So
हाँ
like normally we take people in Sanjay Gandhi National Park for forest walks and
हाँ
all. We can take them in a mangrove region also where we can explain them why it's important. Like अगर आंखों से देखा तो हमें
हाँ
सच लगता है, तो
एंड इट्स
that's
वेरी
why
इंटरेस्टिंग ना
forest
कि
walk is
उसके
very
जो
important.
रूट्स जो होते हैं जस्ट लाइक मतलब एलियन टाइप कुछ दिखते हैं रूट्स अलग
Yeah, it's
दैट इज अ
quite
वेरी
different and
इंटरेस्टिंग
interesting.
थिंग यस तो वी शुड आल्सो अरेंज द फॉरेस्ट वॉक मैंग्रोव फॉरेस्ट वॉक स्पेशली सो पीपल
Yeah,
कैन अंडरस्टैंड अबाउट द मैंग्रोव्स या
yeah,
थैंक यू क्लाइव थैंक यू फॉर
yeah.
योर प्रेजेंटेशन एंड फैक्ट्स थैंक यू वेरी मच
Thank you. Thank you.